I say yes, there will be difficulties, though I believe that with energy and application they will be far less serious than some have claimed. But if there is one thing that has really sapped the confidence of business over the last 3 years, it is not the decisions we have taken, it is our refusal to take decisions. And to those who say we cannot be ready, I say, do not underestimate this country.
You know, I keep saying this, but I can't stress it enough. Boris Johnson chosen as the leader of his party yesterday, and the next day he moves into 10 Downing Place. That's been like someone elected president of this country on that Tuesday in November, and the next day moves into the White House. It's a uniquely British experience. He is a uniquely British leader. Many are fashioning him in a sort of a modern-day Maggie Thatcher. Nile Gardiner would know that very, very well and be able to see the challenges he faces and how he's going to respond to Brexit, maybe this Iranian situation with those British tankers. He's got a full plate, doesn't he?
He certainly does, Neil. And I think that Boris Johnson's off to a flying start, a very strong speech in front of Downing Street this afternoon. And I think he's certainly sending the right message, absolutely, on Brexit. He's pledged to deliver Brexit, deal or no deal, on October the 31st. So he fired a sort of warning shot at the European Union today. This is a very strong, extremely positive, optimistic speech by the Prime Minister, a huge contrast with the very negative approach taken by Theresa May, who approached Brexit as a sort of damage limitation exercise. Boris views Brexit as a tremendous opportunity for Great Britain and also, of course, for the United States as well, through a US-UK free trade deal. I think we can look forward to a very robust relationship with President Trump. But as you mentioned, Iran certainly is the biggest immediate challenge for the Prime Minister. And you have a British-flagged ship that is currently held by the Iranian terrorist dictatorship. And Boris Johnson needs to stand up to Iran and work closely together with President Trump in applying maximum pressure against the Iranian regime. So I expect we're going to see some movement on the British front in the next 48 hours or so on this.
You know what's amazing to me? I wish we had a lot more time, but now just how he is putting the European Union on notice, with or without you helping us. We're out of this whole union thing. And I think Brits have always played this on defense or believing the worst scenarios playing out. You won't be able to move around Europe. You know, if you're in Northern Ireland or Ireland, you won't be able to move, period. And there's been this panic and fear that you can't get back into the country. He is saying that's all nonsense. You know, now, I don't know if it's the case, but he's playing it quite differently. And he's playing offense, yes, not defense. And that's a distinct difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that Boris Johnson demonstrated some real Churchillian-style grit and resolve today. Exactly the right message. Brexit is a tremendous opportunity for Great Britain. Britain's going to do just fine in the Brexit era. The British people voted for Brexit, and Boris Johnson is determined to deliver the will of the British people. Britain is, after all, the world's fifth largest economy. It's going to do extremely well outside of the European Union. The European Union is a sinking Titanic.
And I think the European Union knows that. I'm sorry, my friend, but
absolutely,
the European Union knows that and doesn't want Britain to know that or the world to know that, painting Britain at a disadvantage and knowing full well that if Britain bolts, I mean, the sun's going to come up the next day regardless. And people are going to discover, wait a minute, you know, all this stuff that everyone was hand-wrenching about hasn't materialized. And maybe that's why it's the Europeans who are going to be sort of panic-stricken.
Yeah, they fear the success of Brexit. Brexit's a massive game changer. The British threw a lifeboat off the EU Titanic. And Britain's going to thrive and prosper, whereas the big government high-tax mentality inside the EU is going to be a complete disaster. And so the British people have said enough is enough. They want their freedom, their sovereignty back, their ability to trade with countries across the world. This is a tremendously positive future for Great Britain. I think Boris Johnson is the right man to lead Britain into that future at the moment.
All right, Niall, a very good capitalization of what's going on. We always appreciate that. My friend Nile Gardiner, the former Maggie Thatcher advisor on the Margaret Thatcher Center